So I am in Forest City, North Carolina. We're in the foothills of the mountains, about an hour from the center of Asheville. Um, we did sustain a lot of damage, but it was mostly high winds. We do have some flooding, but our town has, it's most of it's remained. The people are doing pretty well. We do have to, like, gas is limited. We have to sit in line for about an hour, and then you may have a $20 or $50 limit on what you can get, which you just burnt sitting there for an hour. And that's if you can find it. Like I said, we're fortunate we have gas. But around us, every county, oh my goodness, the damage is devastating. Buncombe County, Mitchell County, all around us, McDowell County, Henderson County. The damage is just incredible. I've got, so Chimney Rock, parts of Asheville, parts of Hendersonville, Marshall, Bryson City, Cherokee, and the lower parts of Lake Lure were or are still underwater.
Wow.
There are people that are still stranded. They're not getting help. They're stranded. They're landlocked. They're in floods. And FEMA, okay, so I did go up into Asheville yesterday.
In the wake of a recent executive order,
there's one way in and one way out. I actually made it up into Asheville and around into Otine. And the damage, houses literally washed down the road, or they're covered. There's mudslides. But Asheville, there's so many dead bodies that you can smell it. The stench is becoming unbearable. Like, you can smell it. There are that many dead people. Wow. It's bad. It's very, very, like, I can't describe to you how bad it is.
And when you say FEMA, is it that FEMA can't get into certain areas, or FEMA isn't doing enough?
They're not doing enough. Where I went to, we had family members in Asheville. We got to the house. They said that FEMA was there, asked what they needed. There's 2 babies in the house. Asked what they needed. They said, we need water and formula. They left, never came back. How long are babies supposed to wait on formula? How long are people supposed to wait on water? How long are they supposed to wait? So they were there. They know what they need. Where are they? We saw emergency vehicles riding around. We had to get into Asheville. We drove over live power lines and under fallen trees to get to our family members. The people are helping the people. The people are helping the people. But here's another problem. So they're telling people to donate to FEMA, not to bring supplies in, to donate to FEMA, and FEMA's got it under control. That is not the case. FEMA does not have it under control. Like I said, there are literally people still in floods right now that cannot get out. There are the people that did survive. They are in shock. They are traumatized. They watch their family members. They watch their neighbors die. We need help desperately.
In addition to the horrifying images of the dead bodies and the smell that you described, it sounds like there's also a lot of people still trapped.
Yes, that's a big problem. Okay, so there are people, the Fairview, North Carolina fire chief is turning away private helicopters that are trying to come in and help. Everybody they're turning help away. The people are trying to help, and our help is being turned away. I don't understand what is going on, but it is not okay. We still have people trapped. FEMA does not have it under control, and we need help.
Talk about you living about an hour outside, so you're not in the worst of it, but you said there's long lines for gas and other things. Talk about how it is in your area and other areas as far as power, gas, food, etc.
So we were without power for 3 days, and we were the fortunate ones that got it on in a few days. We did have water because we were in the city. The water was still working. But now I'm a kind of person, I have a lot of food in my house. We have a lot of kids. So, we were pretty good, but there's a lot of people. So, most of the grocery stores, the two main grocery stores, Ingles and Food Lion, they weren't able to open the first few days. Either they didn't have power or they didn't have staffing. So some of, maybe the local Dollar Generals were open. Some of the local stores were open. So even supplies are in the short. People are going to by the thousands to stores that are open because they're having to travel. They're coming down from Asheville. They're coming in from Hendersonville. They're coming in from other places because they have nothing. They don't have power. Their stores aren't open. So they're coming in from everywhere trying to get their needs. And there's just not enough. There's not enough. I just yesterday got a notice on my phone of 3 different drop points, 3 different locations in South Carolina where people can go to pick up water and emergency supplies. That's all I'm aware of at this point.
Wow. And for you, you went into Asheville. Did you go in to try and help, or you went in because you have family there? You're in about an hour from Asheville.
We had family members there. They literally, so across from, they're just down the road from the VA in Asheville. There was a huge apartment complex from them. The apartment complex was underwater. They literally watched multiple neighbors die. One was hit by a tree. Others were washed away. Literally, the house was floating away with people in it. They are in shock. They are traumatized. We went in to get family members out, and thank God we did. We barely made it to them. It was a miracle, but we did.
Can you kind of talk about, because obviously in the case of these hurricanes, which are coming rapid and much worse in recent years, obviously people in Florida tend to, I don't know about be prepared, but at least have a few days warning if their area is going to be kind of in the bullseye. Did your area, Asheville, maybe you thought you'd be affected, but did you think it was going to hit as hard there?
No, not at all. We're nowhere near the beach. We're inland by a few states. So sure, we thought we were going to get some rain, tropical storm, wind. We were prepared for that. We were absolutely not prepared for the devastation that came. No, that kind of warning did not come. And here's another problem that is currently happening. Our dams are in jeopardy. They have not been repaired the way that they need to be. Now all of the debris from the homes, from people, from everything is starting to put pressure on our dams. So there are still areas that are currently in danger of still possibly being flooded because of these dams.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you have the issue of water contamination, which tends to happen in these types of situations. At the same time, it's like this, everything happens in threes. You have Hurricane Helene, then you look at Georgia, this chemical plant fire, which could be related to the hurricane. This plant fire had another fire during another hurricane a few years ago. So it just seems like right now, you turn on the internet, which most of you haven't had power, there's one disaster after the other. It doesn't seem like our government is really equipped to handle it, or they are equipped, but they're prioritizing certain areas over others.
Okay, so I heard a nasty little rumor that Tennessee just deployed 700 National Guard to Kuwait just after we were hit, when we still have people that haven't been found. There's thousands missing. If you go to certain platforms, there is picture after picture after picture of people that are missing and lost, and people looking for their family members. And it is not okay. It is not okay.
Can you kind of talk about, obviously the most important thing right now is, getting to people who might still be alive and are trapped, but in the coming weeks, months, even years, this is going to be a long-term recovery. This is going to be a struggle to recover whole communities that have been wiped out.
I mean, I just don't understand where the help is. You say FEMA's taking care of this. Well, they made their presence and then they left. The people are trying to help the people and they're being turned away. So what are we supposed to do? And then they're telling, so Black Mountain is a suburb of Asheville. Black Mountain held a town meeting. The people were officially told, no help is coming. If you can get out, get out. There's one way out, 26 South. The supplies that are coming are going to be for the first responders that are still doing search and rescue. That's what their town told them to do.
It's unbelievable. And by the way, I just looked up what you're referring to. So it does seem that Tennessee deployed some of its guard to Kuwait. Not sure why they did that, but there's been outrage over that.
Yes.
That deployment continued despite what's going on there.
Yes, their own are drowning, and you deployed troops to Kuwait. Like, what is going on? And we all know, it's public. We know all the money that was just sent to Ukraine. Are you kidding me? How much money is it going to take to rebuild these mountains? Like, and there's no amount of money that you can put on these people's lives. Like, what is going on? I don't understand. I mean, I'm an Air Force veteran. I'm a veteran. And this is not what I signed up for. I'll tell you that.
Right. And let me read that just so people know. But
let's talk about timeshare maintenance fees. Timeshares love them because they increase like clockwork every year, padding the pockets of the timeshare giants. Timeshare owners hate them because they increase like clockwork every year, taking more and more from the pockets of timeshare owners. It's not a surprise that many of our clients actually call maintenance fees the loan that can never be repaid. When you think about it, it's a fairly accurate statement. They're never paid off, and they never go away. They are practically guaranteed to increase year after year. And timeshare owners are contractually bound to pay them, even though they have no control over how big they might get. They really are like the loan that can never be repaid. The worst part is many of our clients were told the horrible lie that their fees would never increase. There's no way around it. Maintenance fees are not fun. And truthfully, they're one of the many reasons why timeshares are a pain to own. While the timeshare salesman sold the idea of owning your vacation, the reality is far from ownership. When you factor in the trap of maintenance fees, it's practically indentured servitude. And when you compare timeshare ownership with all the options technology has created for us, like Airbnb and VRBO, it makes timeshare ownership even less fun. Thankfully, there is a solution. Our company, Wesley Financial Group, we go toe-to-toe with the timeshare giants every day to fight for our clients. If you feel like your maintenance fees are out of control, or that you were lied to and misled during your timeshare experience, we've got a gift for you, our Timeshare Exit Info Kit. In this physical package, you'll learn everything you need to know about the timeshare cancellation industry. You'll learn how our CEO defeated the largest timeshare in the world in federal court. And most importantly, you'll learn the steps you need to take to get rid of your timeshare. Just click the link below, fill out your information, and we'll send your package today.
Do not take apple cider vinegar before you see this. Vinegar works to help you slim down in 3 special ways. Number 1, it might help you eat less. That's thanks to something called acetic acid, which can influence certain hunger hormones to help you to eat fewer calories. Just take shots of it if you're broke.
Anger over Tennessee guards, MENA mission helping Israel amid hurricane havoc. The recent deployment of 700 soldiers from the Tennessee National Guard to the region has sparked outrage in the wake of Hurricane Helene. You know, I'd like to ask you, obviously they're very different situations, but I actually got in touch with you through, you're related to Stella in East Palestine.
Yes, my family in East Palestine.
Yeah, she's a badass. I've been in her home, which is contaminated. But, you know, one's a train blowing up cancerous toxic chemicals. you could say that's not a natural disaster like this, but the bottom line is they're both disasters. And it seems the government, checked some boxes and showed up there in the short term, but are sweeping it under the rug. And from what you're telling me, FEMA's pretty inconsistent and unreliable there. Can you kind of talk about, obviously, you've spoken with your family and what the hell they've been going through in East Palestine. It just seems like whether it's corporations detonating toxic chemicals or massive storms, not to get into your politics, but it seems this is related to climate change. It just seems like all the disaster after disaster is happening, whether it's corporations causing it, whether it's, the climate crisis, which I think is caused by corporations, and our government. People are just, if you're in the wrong city or the wrong town at the wrong place, the wrong place at the wrong time, good luck to you. The government's not coming to save you.
Well, and that's what a lot of the talk around here is they want these mountains. They want this land for the resources. There are many resources here. And that's what the talk is. They want this land because they're not saving the people. So what is it that you want?
So people there actually are suspect and kind of wonder, is this lack of a response that they feel because the government wouldn't mind people dying so that they could take the land? Wow.
Yes, that is correct. Yes. We know the resources here. We know what's here. And
tell people who don't know that area. Are we talking mining, oil?
I mean, there's not a lot of people know there is oil in a surrounding county. Huge lithium deposits in Kings Mountain. There's actually another one just outside of Asheville as well. 2 huge lithium deposits.
A lot of lithium in the Middle East. A lot of lithium in the Middle East too, where we seem to be going quite a bit.
And I mean, just it's hard to describe. I mean, there's just a lot of natural resources here. Ginseng. You can grow anything. The vegetation. There's more varieties of vegetation in this area of North Carolina than anywhere in the United States. There's a lot of medicinal herbs, things of the nature. And we know some of what's in the ground, but we don't know what else here.
Do you think, I don't know how much you've been able to see because you had no power for a while, but when you look at the national media, sure, I mean, they're covering the hurricanes, but not as much as they're covering the presidential election. I turned on the TV and it's nonstop talk about the election and whatever Trump said and the vice presidential debate tonight. You would kind of think they'd be covering not just wall to wall when the storm is happening. Obviously, that gets ratings, but they would stay on it and be investigating the claims you and others are making. FEMA's not doing their job. People are trapped. I mean, I don't really see that 24/7 on the news. I see the election 24/7 on the news.
Well, that doesn't surprise me at all. That doesn't surprise me. I mean, every kind of disaster that you all cover, that seems to be the case, right? Smokescreen over here, but we're not talking about what's really going on. And I do have to take a moment to thank you guys so much for what you do. I mean, I was getting my news firsthand from you guys about my family because there was so much going on. I mean, yeah, they would let us know a little bit, but they couldn't keep us constantly updated. Right. And, we're getting news about everybody through you guys. Thank you so much, very much for what y'all do.
It's kind of crazy to me. I'm not saying this to pat ourselves on the back, but I can't tell you how many times I cover a story somewhere. Let's just say, I don't know, East Palestine or wherever, and I see in the comments, I live like 10 minutes away from here and I didn't know this was happening. My local media is not even covering it. I mean, It's just crazy. It's just crazy, the kind of desert of information some places. Lastly, just talk about, obviously you live an hour there, but what should people know that isn't being shown on the news, particularly in Asheville? I mean, the way you described it about dead bodies that you could smell, people trapped. What do you want people to know?
there's information out there. There's actually a story on a platform, the Double T platform. I don't know if I could say it or whatever, but there's stories on there. This man was delivering supplies up to Asheville, particularly the Swannanoa area. And he described, as the water was receding, there were piles of bodies, including children. The smell was foul. He went home and he checked himself into a mental institution.
Jesus.
His story is on the media. It's on platforms. You can find it. That's how bad it is.
Wow.
I just, there's mudslides, there's floods, there's downed power lines. People don't have supplies. And FEMA made an appearance and left. They're not. There's no. The people are rescuing the people. I did see some search and rescue, but I'm not seeing FEMA. And I was in Asheville. I was in Asheville. I was up in the disaster area. I've been to Asheville. My sister lives in Lake Lure. I've been in contact with people all over.
Gotcha. Well, we'll stay on it. I appreciate you telling me what's going on and from your eyes, because you saw it. And we'll definitely keep in touch with you.
Yeah, and if you guys look, I TikTok, that people are taking a ton of actual footage and showing. And I have a couple of pictures that I can send you, but it's just the damage is incredible.